I wanted to do something that was just kind of fun, just to get your perspective.
I hate fun.
It is. It's
worst.
a good fun. So did you see? I'm sure you saw the bear versus man. Did you not see that? Okay, so there's this trend going around, and it just riles me up so much because it's so
wait,
stupid.
was this the one where you asked women would they rather be in the woods with the bear with the man?
Yes.
They say bear.
Yes.
I mean, this is why I don't believe women should have the right to vote.
Do you think that they really mean it? They really are picking the bear, or they're just saying that because
I don't.
they're trying to prove a point?
You know better than me. You tell me.
I would never pick bear.
Right, but
so
that's
I
not
don't know.
I mean, I think a lot of, like I was saying earlier about I think a lot of our social political discourse is stupid, and I think this is probably just a glib, like, well, anything's better than a man, and it's just like, because at the same time, it's a stupid question deserves a stupid answer. It's not a real question. You know what I mean? It's like, would you rather, have cancer or, when people are like, oh, it's,
your husband or your baby is a big one.
No, kind of like I'd rather be skinned alive than watch another episode of Big Bang Theory. It's not true. You would actually rather watch the Big Bang Theory. I say this, I think, is the Big Bang Theory is a war crime. So when you ask like a ridiculous question like, would you rather be in the woods with a bear or with a man? It's just like, well, I'm going to give this question the respect it deserves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some people were trying to say it was women, like a cry for help, and them just saying how scared they are to be a woman in the world. And even if that's true, then I'm like, you don't know anything about bears.
Right.
You don't, like, you're not gonna.
But it's another human. Like you need.
And they didn't say psychopath man.
Yeah,
they just said man.
You got to keep warm. You got to collect food. It's just human beings. Just two people together are going to have infinite better chance. Just not going crazy. Just talking to yourself, you're going to go crazy. So just having two humans in the woods is going to be infinitely easier than just by yourself. So if I had to guess, I think they're just being glib, and a lot of people are marginally intelligent, like to play gotcha. So they try to outwit the question. This is when I have like polls on Twitter, I always like lock the comments because everyone has to be like, actually the choice is D, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, shut up. Just pick between these bad choices, Yeah.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Because it's like asking like, would you rather, lose a foot or a hand? Option C, I win the lottery. It's like, okay, great. Like,
that's not the game we're playing.
That's not the game, and everyone's going to choose option C if that's on the table.
Yeah, of course. I wasn't
I'll be like,
presenting
who do you think? Who would you prefer as president? Trump or Joe Biden? C, Ron Paul. Yeah, that's great. Like that's not this limited option set that we're dealing with.
Yeah, one guy was a wife asking him, and she's like, who would you rather our 2-year-old be in the forest with? And it's just a guy. There's no like context to it, or a bear. And he's like, oh, I'd have to think about that. I was like, you are a shitty person, or you're really stupid. Like,
oh, he's posturing.
Because the bear will eat your baby.
Yes.
Done. Alive.
Right.
Yeah, no question about it. Like, there's no question. There's a ton of possibility for the man.
Yes.
Maybe he's a great hunter, and he's there to
Candice,
help rescue.
We get it.
Yeah.
Like everyone understands this. So
not everyone, because if you look online, it's like everyone is like, yes, of course, men suck.
Yeah, but there's something called revealed preferences, right? So we're talking about earlier how a lot of people will say that like, oh, I'm a good husband and good provider, and they're not home half the time and they're hoeing around. It's like you can say whatever you want, and you can even trick yourself to believe it, but your actions determine the reality. So when push comes to shove, I don't think a single one of these women, if they had to have like a video camera and their 2-year-old's there, and you press a button and a bear comes in the room, or some random man comes in the room, that they're going to press the button for the bear. That's not a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been listening to Rhetoric by Aristotle, and one of the parts that he was saying was that people like to be perceived as just more than actually to be just.
Yes.
And that's what I'm thinking with that.
Yes,
it's like,
of course.
It's all about the perception, and then behind closed doors, it's like this totally other thing that you don't
Because when people
care
look
about.
for like caretakers for their kids, they're not like, okay, I've got 3 men and a bear. Clearly, I'm not even going to bother with the interview. It's like, here you go, Smokey. Like, here's my kid. That's not a thing.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I'm glad I asked
like if you're with a kid at like a zoo and the kid falls into the bear pit, or if you're with a kid and he falls into like a construction site, like, are you going to be like, well, I'd rather he let me throw him in the bear pit instead? That's not a thing. And these are construction workers. They're not exactly like classy gentlemen. Like no woman's going to be like, oh shit, they're going to kill the kid. She's not gonna be shrieking at the top of her lungs, help, help. My God, this guy with the jackhammer is my kid. That's not a thing. Am I wrong?
No, that's such a good example. Oh, I'm so glad
Right.
I asked you. That's such a good example.